Hi guys, welcome back. So in today's video, we've got Luke from Hampshire Photography's MK7 Golf R back in for another round of upgrades and also some service work. So one of the upgrades we're going to be doing today is going to be installing a Vektor Technic display. Now, if you're familiar with our channel, you might have seen that we've installed one recently on the ultimate MK7.5 Golf R, and now we're going to be installing that same dash display in this car. So Luke will be able to log all of the parameters in the car whilst obviously he's on track on the road. Also be able to have a look at any fault codes if he needs to, and obviously be able to display many different parameters such as like oil temperature, the real coolant temperature, other temperatures, and monitor everything else as you'd want to on the track. Also, service-wise, we're going to be doing quite a big service on this car. So obviously the normal engine oil, oil filter. You got your spark plugs. Luke's also asking us to do the coil packs, and also then doing a rear axle service, rear Haldex service, and then the front axle service as well. So relatively big service on this car. So yeah, let's get stuck straight into it. So obviously Luke's doing a lot of track days and things like that, so we're just going to get the car ready for this season. So he's asked us to do a few different things. I'm going to do a big service on the car, so obviously you're going to do the engine oil and the oil filter. We're actually still waiting for the racing line replacement filter to arrive, so obviously we'll show you that when it gets here. Although it is, they say it's a reusable, washable one, they do recommend it to be changed at every single oil service, so here we are. At the same time, Luke's asked us to freshen up the front and rear axle oils. So obviously you've got the rear axle in the back, you've got the front axle in the front, which is like the transfer case, and then also the Haldex oil as well. So we're going to clean the gauze, because obviously you have to reuse the gauze and usually it blocks up, so we'll replace the oil and give it a good clean. Replace the spark plugs. The spark plugs again haven't quite arrived with us, but we'll show you when they arrive. And he's installing some APR coil packs, so obviously that will look a little bit better and perform a little bit better as well. And then whilst we're here, we're installing the Vektor Technic gauge. Now if it's something you haven't seen before, we've done a couple of videos on our page as well, but essentially it is a display which replaces one of the vents, so the left hand side of the driver's side vent, and within this display it's a real high quality display, and you can see all kinds of different parameters from the car. So you can see all your oil temps, the true water temperature, you can log the vehicle, you can have a look at any fault codes, and you can also measure like 0 to 60, 100 to 200 kilometers an hour times, all that kind of important stuff. Uses a very high refresh rate GPS signal as well, so refreshes about 30 Hertz, and uses the antenna on the top of the car as well for the signal, so you always get pretty much the best signal possible. So yeah, going to get that installed in the car and show Luke obviously how to use it, and hopefully make some use out of it on the track. Okay, so we've been going through some of the service work as you've seen, and Luke, when he dropped off the car, was mentioning that he had a bit of deposit of oil after he left the car for a little while. So asked us to sort of like have a look and sort of like suss it out, and obviously as going through the service we could see that there was some oil underneath the car, but not from some of the more obvious areas like gearbox or engine, anything like that. When we removed the intake to have a look at the air filter condition, we noticed that the air filter was absolutely saturated in engine oil, and also the carbon fiber intake as well was full of oil as well. And where there's a drain on the intake, basically all the oil was sitting in the intake and then dropping down onto the gearbox and working its way down to the floor. And it looks like the oil has been coming from the turbocharger, but the turbocharger at this stage looks like it's in working order. Luke doesn't really report any fault codes, no sort of like running issues, so performance looks all good. So we're just going to continue working through it. We're going to add on a compression test onto the job, just to see if obviously the engine's okay as well. Other things that might potentially cause the issue, potentially the baffle that's used on the valve cover as well. So sometimes what happens on these cars is when you're under heavy braking, the oil can sit at the very front there, and it can literally get sucked through into the turbo, through the breather, back into the intake. But this looks like a lot of oil is going back into the air filter and into the airbox as well. So going to have a little bit of a deeper look and see what we might be able to find. Okay, so we've got the Vektor Technic gauge installed. So as you can see, it covers the whole entire vent gauge. So one of the dashes we've got at the moment is obviously dash 1 that we've sort of customized. So each one of these little squares you can change depending on what you want. So for example, at the moment we've got all temperature water, we've got boost, intake air temperature, and like throttle body and throttle percentage open. So if we click on all temp, we can choose from a load of different parameters, like you've got all your ignition angles there, like vehicle speed, exhaust temperature, water temperature, lambda, voltage, torque, fuel pressure, DHD temperature, loads of different parameters that obviously you might want to monitor if you're using the car on track or driving the car hard on the street. You can see in the top right, you've got the strength of the GPS signal. So as you can see, we've got like the 5 little dots, we've got the strongest available. You can also preset some different dashes across here. So obviously you might want to have like one particular setup for just cruising around town. You might want to have another setup for doing like track days or like 100 to 200 kilometers, things like that. And then also obviously on this product, you've got a few different other things. For example, we've got the performance meter. So you've got like 60 to 100, 60 to 110, and the all important 100 to 200 kilometers an hour. So as soon as you start moving, this will start to register whatever time it is, and it's 30 hertz as well. So it's refreshing 30 times a second. So it's really, really accurate. And on this, you've got, you can dyno the car. Obviously it's like a calculated measurement on there. You've got coding of the car, so you can code all kinds of different things that you want. So the active sound module that most people obviously delete. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then please give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to watch other videos of ours that YouTube thinks you'll like, then click up here. If you'd like to watch some other videos that we have in the same playlist, then click here. And obviously if you enjoyed the video, then we really appreciate if you gave us a subscription. And then obviously you'll be updated when other videos of ours go live, and you can do that quite easily by clicking here. Hope to see you soon.